is Reg and I'm the paper junkie, and welcome to my channel. So this video would mainly be focusing on why I'm moving from a Hobonichi Mega Weeks to the Jibun Techo Mini or the Jibun Techo in Basics Slim. So before I proceed with stating the reasons why I'm making this move for 2019, I'm going to just give you a background of what my planning journey has been for the past few years. So if you're not a follower, if you're not a friend back then, I started with my creative planning journey or my planning journey 3 years ago, in 2016. So back then I was mainly using ring planners. And then in the middle of 2016, I discovered bullet journaling, and then I implemented that planning system in a Leuchtturm notebook. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but that's what I was using back in 2016. I found planning system piece in the bullet journaling system. I still apply it up until this day. But my main problem back then was it was too free and customizable for me, that it felt like I was out of ideas in designing spreads, and to be honest, I got a bit pressured with the different spreads that the creative people do or make with their bullet journal spreads. And then there were actually times when I didn't have any energy or any time to create pretty spreads in my bullet journal. So in 2017, I decided to do a bullet journal in a traveler's notebook using a regular size traveler's notebook from the Traveler's Company. And I used the inserts. So for the first half of 2017, I used the horizontal weekly inserts. It didn't really work for me that well, and then I chose to use a vertical in the second half of the year. If you notice, if you go back through my videos, I didn't really post much about, or I didn't really upload any plan with me videos or whatsoever in 2017 with my bullet journal in a traveler's notebook, because I went through a phase that I wasn't really that excited with planning anymore, and then I only got back into that planning mojo when this came in the last part of 2017. 2017. So that was for 2018. It was the first year that Hobonichi released a mega version of the weeks. So I previously had the regular weeks in 2017, and I mainly used it as a memory keeper of some sort. And then this was released, so I was a bit excited because it had a lot of empty pages at the back, and it made me realize that maybe what didn't work for me in the attempt to do a bullet journal in a traveler's notebook would work in the Hobonichi Mega Weeks this time. So before I proceed again with the reasons why I'm moving to this one, I'm going to show you or state reasons why I really love the Hobonichi Mega Weeks, and then so I'm just going to state the pros and cons of the Mega Weeks that I used last year. So as I mentioned, I did apply bullet journaling here. There were a couple of posts I made that I already found planner system or planning system piece in bullet journaling that hasn't changed since 2016. I already found planner piece in the Hobonichi Mega Weeks, so that's what I initially felt and thought. But I'm starting to believe again that planner piece is just a figment of imagination, or maybe I'm just still trying to explore more options. But anyway, so what I did was to design each week. This worked well for me at first, and the trackers and all the stuff I placed, since basically, so I'm just going to turn this into a page where I didn't fill out any. So if you're not familiar with the Hobonichi Mega Weeks, this is what it looks like. So the left portion, you have the horizontal spreads with the dates, and then on the right side, it's just an empty or blank page. Well, it's not necessarily blank, but it's gridded. So that's what actually enticed me to do bullet journaling in the Hobonichi Mega Weeks. So it did work for me. I'm not saying I hate doing planning in my Mega Weeks. I really, really loved it. And I also saw the surge of people who before opted only for the A6 size or the cousin size of the Hobonichi, and then now they're using even multiple weeks for planning. I don't have anything against that, to each his own, but yeah, so it did work for me. I'm still going to suggest it to people who would want to try out the Hobonichi line and who would want to have a different planner for this year or the next year. But as there were times, like for example this one, I did decorate the spread, but then there were times that I wasn't really able to write much on it because it was because I'm too busy, or but this time it was black because I was already moving to my Jibun Techo. So one of the main reasons why I actually decided to move to another planner was because, for example, in days like this, it's filled out, and when it's filled out, I don't have any more space to write on. Maybe you'll say that, oh, you'll have more space if you didn't have all those necessary stuff on the right side, but for me, these are necessary, although in this case, it's blank. But because there were limited spaces, I ended up using an additional memo for the weeks because it fits perfectly here if you just place it there. And I just write the additional to-do lists on this supplement. So one of also the factors that made me want to move was because there were actually some collections that I did that I felt that it would be really hard to move them every year. Like for example, let me just like the weekly review. Some of the collections I wrote here that I wanted to be fixed or not to transfer it over and over every year. So that's an example. And then I also have this podcast tracker. So imagine me trying to transfer this every year over to another journal, and some of the other collections as well. So the collections part or the notes part really worked well for me. I still even have a few pages left. But yeah, so that was the main dilemma I had. I was looking for more structure because for the Hobonichi Mega Weeks weekly view, I was always struggling to think of ways on how I'm going to utilize the right page instead of actually just writing down stuff that I really need to do and really need to remember. So that's when I started looking for other options. The main reason why I opted for the Jibun Techo is because it's a bit similar in some ways to the Hobonichi system. That's number one. And the number two, it's because it's a Japanese planner. So I've been saying this quite a lot to my friends, to my close planner friends, and then to other people, that once you try Japanese stationery or planners, you'll never go back to using other planners. Well, I'm speaking for myself, but that's what I experienced. So most of the planners I'm using, they're Japanese, but I'm talking about planners and not journals. So the journals I use, I still opt to try other local brands or other brands, but for planners, the Japanese system is just really hard to beat for me. So that's what I realized. And then number three was that because I just wanted a more structured layout, and I really wanted to not transform, what's the proper term for it? I really wanted to move away from being super creative I wanted to be more of a functional planner this time because of my 2019 word, which is, or word or phrase, which is to be intentional. So I want to be more intentional with everything that I'm doing in every aspect of my life. That's why I really wanted to go for more functional planning for 2019. So I think that's enough introduction. I've already wasted 10 minutes of your time. So I'm just going to show you a few reasons why I really opted for the Jibun Techo. So this contains only the diary and the two idea booklets that I made into collections, one for my blog and then one for my 2019 collection. So normally I'm housing this in this noted journal Jibun custom Jibun Techo cover that I asked or that I ordered from Noted Journal PH. So this also has the life booklet and then the another idea booklet that I transformed into collections spread. So when I was talking about the collections not being, being fixed in one place and not transferring them over and over again each year. So this is how I'm dealing with that. So this collections is booklet is mainly for collections that's fixed for me and that I won't need to transfer over and over again. And then the life booklet just came with the kit I ordered, the Jibun Techo kit I ordered. So it came with the life, the diary, and then the idea booklet. And then I just ordered another idea booklet pack to contain my collection. So I won't really be doing an overview of my Jibun Techo setup. I'll be reserving that for another video. But as I mentioned, I'll just be stating some of the features that I really loved about the Jibun Techo. So first is the vertical spreads for the weekly here. So this is how it looks like compared to the Hobonichi Mega Weeks, which had a horizontal spread here. So this one has a vertical spread for the weeks. Now you think that maybe, oh, you tried bullet journaling in a traveler's notebook before and it had a vertical layout and it didn't work for you. So what makes you think that this time it would work for you? Well, first of all, the grids in the Jibun Techo are very small, so it actually teaches me to write smaller to fit all the things I want to write in the day. And then if you can also see that there's a timeline spread in for each day. So I'm just going to show you one sample spread I did, and this is my first spread. So as you can see, it's full and it's very full. I'm still using stickers. I really love stickers, so I'm still incorporating that. But everything I need is already on the page. So what I only did was the trackers that still weren't in here. I'm using the gratitude, the space at the bottom for the gratitude log. I'm using the food log as is. I now started logging my food, and it has really made me aware of what I'm eating, if I'm eating healthily. And then I'm tracking my sleep. I'm even tracking the weather now, which I didn't really do before. I'm tracking my mood now, so it's easier for me. Last year I attempted to do a mood tracker, but it just didn't work for me. So in the Jibun Techo spread, I have everything's in one place already, and that's what I really love about it. And there's so much space for me to write on that it doesn't really bother me anymore. It sometimes amazes me that this amount of space didn't really overwhelm me compared to the small spaces that the Hobonichi Mega Weeks had, and yet there were days that I wasn't really able to write anything, and then there were blank spaces. But as I mentioned, I have already forgiven myself for that, so I'm perfectly okay with that now. But the past spreads I did for my Jibun are all full, and it amazes me how the Jibun Techo is actually encouraging me or motivating me to write more and be more mindful of everything that's happening in my life. So that's number one, the vertical spread. So the collections, I already mentioned that already. And then, as I mentioned, it's also more structured. I'm going to go back to the collections a bit and then just show you why I think the Jibun Techo is perfect for bullet journaling. It already has the collections in it. So, like for example, this a money plan or a finance spread, and then this is just a sample of the weekly spread, and then we have here a favorite phrases, recommendations list, and then books I read, I'll read, or books I read, and then books to read, and then the movie list. So it's all in here. Plus, there's also a habit tracker already, so I don't need to stress myself about how I'm going to set that up. In the Hobonichi Mega Weeks, it didn't really work for me. Let me show you, I did set up monthly trackers, but I think the main reason why it didn't work for me was because it was in the back portion, since it was part of the notes page, and it's really harder for me to remind myself of to update the monthly tracker, since it's in the back part of the planner. So with the Jibun Techo, the habit trackers come before the monthlies. So another thing that I really love about the Jibun Techo is the months. The boxes for each day of the month is bigger than the Hobonichi Mega Weeks. So if you can see here, I'm just going to show you a sample here for December. The boxes are smaller than, let me turn this to a blank page, or so that you would be able to see. So yeah, if you can compare the grid size of the day of the month, it's smaller compared to the Jibun Techo. So I'm now learning how to completely use the monthly spread I have, and I'm just putting all my schedules in there, birthdays, events, all the reminders that I need to remind myself of, and stuff like that. So mainly that's the reason why I moved to the Jibun Techo for 2019. I'm still using a Hobonichi Mega Weeks for 2019, but I'm going to use this one as my memory keeping journal, or memory keeper. So yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions you would want to ask me about my move from the Hobonichi to the Jibun Techo, feel free to comment down below. I might include it in the Jibun Techo setup video that I'll be filming. So I haven't really finished or finalized my setup yet. That's why I haven't filmed anything. I might probably be filming at the end of January or February, once I finally figured things out, or once I finalize my setup. But I think that's just about it, since this video has already become very long, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!